Welcome to how to program and operate the Icom ID-880H amateur radio transceiver. This is a tutorial for new hams, hams with a new-to-them radio, hams with an Icom radio, or anyone interested in amateur radio. I'm Milt Reynolds, KJ7, PPX in Boise, Idaho, calling QST. I missed the mark in the previous episode. I blame the ID-880H user manual for being vague, misleading, and perhaps even negligent. But there you have it. Today I aim to rectify their mistake. Despite being able to receive D-Star digital voice communications on my ID-880H from operators near and far, I have been unable to successfully contact anyone through the repeater's gateway using the default UR call sign, CQCQCQ. I had my UR call sign set to CQCQCQ. I had my RPT1 and RPT2 call signs properly set to W7VOI Bravo and W7VOI Golf, respectively. I had my call sign set to KJ7 PPX. I was registered with D-Star. I could set UR to a specific operator's call sign and make contact, locally and through a linked reflector. I could issue an I command to get information about the repeater status. I could issue an E command to perform an echo test. Everything indicated that I had all the settings right. Why could I not contact anyone through the gateway using CQCQCQ as my destination UR? The D-Star system receives and transmits my signal based on 4 parameters or call signs. Originator, labeled as my, repeater 1, RPT1, repeater 2, RPT2, and destination, labeled as UR. Of these 4 D-Star call signs, there's one with the greatest effect and potential for error. Destination call sign, UR. The UR call sign is the D-Star setting which you will likely need to change most frequently. The UR call sign determines whether your signal ultimately contacts a local operator a few miles from you or an operator overseas. The UR call sign can be programmed to issue commands to your local repeater. The UR call sign can be used to link to other repeaters or D-Star networks. Hidden in the Icom ID-880H user manual is this instruction. Quote, push band several times to select Group CQ. Then CQCQ is selected as UR call sign automatically. The linked repeater, RPT2, setting is set to not use automatically. I had read and reread this user manual, every page, taking notes, trying out every step, yet I had overlooked this simple note. Overlooking this bit of information has caused me great frustration. Despite being able to receive D-Star digital voice communications from operators near and far, I'd been unable to successfully initiate contact with anyone through the repeater's internet gateway controller. The solution to the problem began with this website, D-Star Setup with Icom ID-880H, kevinhook.com. Specifically this section, quote, if you follow the instructions in the 880H manual for configuring DR mode, it talks about 3 settings, Group CQ, Group RPT, and Group UR. The manual is not very clear about the difference in these modes relating to your UR, RPT1, RPT2, and my settings, however. So here's my understanding of the differences. Kevin Hook continues. Group CQ removes RPT2 setting for routing, which means when you transmit, you're only heard on the local repeater, and you do not get forwarded out via the gateway to any linked reflectors or other repeaters. Group UR does keep the RPT2 value, usually repeater call G. Plus, you can select any of your stored values for UR, either CQCQCQ or a link or unlink command. And Kevin continues, I read somewhere that you should use UR of DR CQCQ to indicate that you're using DR mode to force the repeater to see this as destined not only for the repeater and include the gateway routing info too, RPT2. I don't think this solves the issue of GRP CQ though, says Kevin, which seems to intentionally remove the RPT2 value. Changing the default UR of CQCQCQ to DR CQCQ I don't think has any effect. This is how Kevin ends his post. So in summary, if you're intending to get forwarded out from your repeater's gateway, use the GRP UR mode, Group UR. What a helpful post. Thank you, Kevin. All of my attempts to contact anyone listening with the D-Star Radio UR call sign programmed with CQCQCQ were restricted. The default CQCQCQ is a group CQ call sign, and group CQ call signs automatically block the use of the repeater's internet gateway. Following an all reset, the ID-880H has two different categories of UR call signs. Group CQ, which is limited to local calls only, and Group UR, which has access to the Internet gateway. If Group CQ is selected, the gateway port for RPT2 is not used. If Group UR is selected, the gateway port for RPT2 is used. If RPT2 is not used, my signal will go no further than the range of my antenna, or the range of the repeater's antenna. My signal will not be retransmitted through the internet to another zone or network if RPT2 is not used, even if I've configured RPT2 in the settings for the gateway port. If my local D-Star repeater is linked to a reflector, I will be able to transmit to that reflector only if RPT2 is used. In order for RPT2 to be used, my UR call sign must be selected from the Group UR list. After an all reset, one of the first D-Star call signs that should be programmed is the My call sign, the operator's FCC assigned personal call sign. For me, that is KJ7 PPX. So tap Menu, dial to call S, tap Money. Dial to My, tap Money, tap Low, and dial to enter the call sign. Tap Money to confirm the call sign. Tap Menu to exit. If the My call sign is programmed following an all reset, the current UR call sign options have only two choices, Group CQ and CS. Long press DR, tap Dial. The display briefly indicates Group CQ. Tap Dial again. The display briefly indicates CS. Each tap toggles between those two choices, Group CQ and CS. Tap DR to exit. The ID-880H uses Group CQ to limit digital calls only to the local area. Selecting a UR destination call sign from the Group CQ list limits the contact to only those within range of my antenna or the antenna of my local D-Star repeater. Were I to press the PTT now, my signal would be received only by operators within the range of my antenna. Think of Group CQ as local contacts only. The ID-880H automatically blocks Group CQ calls from using an internet gateway. Group CQ only allows direct D-Star radio to D-Star radio voice signals or D-Star radio to local D-Star repeaters. Group CQ does not allow access to the Internet Gateway Controller. CS stands, I think, for current call signs. As D-Star signals are received, the most recent 20 call signs received are stored in memory automatically. These call signs can then be selected as the UR destination call sign. With UR set to a specific station or operator call sign, my signal will command the repeater to retransmit my signal to the D-Star repeater last accessed by that specific station or operator. Additionally, I can program new UR call signs and save them to memory. UR call signs received or saved will add a third option to the Group UR screen. Unlike the Group CQ option, the Group UR option does allow access to the Internet Gateway Controller. If I select a UR destination call sign from the Group UR list, I can contact any operator, whether over the air or through the Internet Gateway. Here's how to program and save a new UR call sign and then select it from the Group UR list. Tap Menu, dial to call S, tap Money, dial to UR, it's already there, tap Money, and dial to an available UR channel number. After an all reset, there are 59 available UR channel numbers from U01 to U60. For this demonstration, I'll select U01. To make it easier to recognize the difference between a call sign selected from Group CQ and one selected from Group UR, I'll change the call sign slightly. Rather than entering it as CQCQCQ, I'll enter it as DR CQCQ. DR reminds me that it's a D-Star repeater destination call sign, programmed as an option in the Group UR, and capable of contacting through the Internet Gateway. It still means the same, requesting contact with anyone listening. Dial to U01, it's already there. Tap Low to begin entering DR CQCQ. Tap Money to confirm the call sign. The display indicates a blinking channel number. If desired, dial to select a different channel number. But I'm going to stick with 01. Tap Money to confirm the selected channel number. And tap Menu to exit. Now, let's view the call sign options in the Group UR list. Long press DR to enter UR selection mode. Tap Dial to briefly display Group UR. That's Group CQ. There's Group UR. Dial clockwise or counterclockwise to scroll through the available Group UR call signs. So I'm dialing left and right, but there's only one call sign showing, the one we just added, DR CQCQ. Tap DR to exit. Only the one new UR call sign that I just programmed is available in the group UR list, DR CQCQ. Any additional UR call signs programmed and saved to a memory channel will be available through the group UR list. Now, let's view the call sign options in the group CQ list. Long press DR. Tap dial to briefly display group CQ. And there it is, group CQ. Dial clockwise or counterclockwise to scroll through the available UR call signs. So going back and forth on the dial, I can see that the group CQ list has two options, the default CQCQCQ and the one we just added. But if I were to exit now, even though it's on the DR CQCQ, it's still been selected from the group CQ list, which does not allow access through the gateway, the internet connected gateway. So I'm going to go back, long press, make sure I'm in group UR. There's group CQ, and there's group UR, and dial to the call sign I want from the group UR list and tap DR. Both CQCQCQ and DR CQCQ are available in the group CQ list. The group CQ list makes available all UR call signs, whether received or programmed or default. However, the group UR option lists only the UR call signs that have been programmed and saved to a UR memory channel. Any call sign selected from the group UR list will have access to the Internet gateway if the RPT2 call sign is properly configured. Any call sign selected from the group CQ list will not be given access to the Internet gateway, even if the RPT2 call sign is properly configured. Here's how to exit the UR selection screen. If you're in the UR selection screen and you've tap to select which list you want, that was CS, there's the group CQ, and there's the group UR, dial to the one you want, tap DR, and you exit the UR selection screen. The display returns to the frequency screen. So, problem solved. Here are some lessons learned. 1. Read the user manual carefully. 2. Look for an Elmer, in person or online. And 3. I greatly appreciate Kevin Hook. Bottom line, to access the D-Star Repeater Internet Gateway, select the UR call sign from the group UR list. Following an all reset, you'll have to program and save to memory a new UR call sign. I suggest DR CQCQ. 73. This has been how to program and operate the Icom ID-880H amateur radio transceiver. Thank you for watching, for liking, and for subscribing to my channel at youtube.com/Milt Reynolds. I'm Milt Reynolds, KJ7PPX in Boise, Idaho, and I'll be clear on your final. 73.